Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for joining today. My name is Kristen McKnight. I work here at WGU on our employer relations team and career and professional development. We're so glad that you're all joining us for um, our first Career Quest session of the month. And we're really glad and always happy to have Commerce Bank come and and provide us with some financial education. I'll go ahead, I'll toss it over to Ashley and she can introduce herself and uh, get things started.
Thanks so much, Kristen. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. My name is Ashley Stevenson, and I'm with Commerce Bank, and I'm the Senior Workplace Banking Implementation Specialist here in Kansas City, and I've been with the bank just over 5 years. Also joining me today is Tyler Goff. He's the Business Development Officer in Kansas City and will be assisting with dropping helpful information in the chat and will be on to help answer some questions during the Q&A portion of today's session. So we do receive aggregate data, which is not linked to any personal information from those of you who use My Milestones currently. And we've learned that some of your top financial stressors are debt, saving for goals, and bills. That's why we're excited to share this emergency savings course with you today. So when disaster strikes, will you have the funds necessary to cover those emergency expenses? Seasoned savers and those new to the saving game can both benefit from an understanding of why it's important to have money set aside to cover life surprises. This course is going to dive into emergency fund basics, including what an emergency fund is, how much experts recommend saving, and methods one can use to contribute. So sprinkled throughout the course are tips and tricks to start and propel your savings. Users will graduate from this course with an understanding that building this habit of savings can add financial stability to your life. All right, so here is our agenda for today. So first, we are going to talk about why financial wellness is crucial. Then we're going to dive into what My Milestones is and how the platform can help support your goals. Following that, we will be going through a live demo of the platform and complete the Setting Up an Emergency Fund course together. And then lastly, we will have a call to action for all of you, and we will end the presentation with a Q&A session and leave you with some contact information if you happen to develop any questions about the presentation as you're diving into the platform on your own. All right, so before we dive in, we're curious to know who has already signed up for My Milestones. So at the top of your screen, you're going to see a button that says React. Go ahead and click on that and select a thumbs up or a heart for us if you have already signed up for My Milestones. If not, no worries. We're going to help you figure out how to sign up for the platform while we're on the call today. So we do want to start out by telling you what My Milestones is. So My Milestones is an interactive financial wellness platform that provides objective, interactive tools, education, and solutions to empower its users to take control of their finances. So we're all in different situations, and with My Milestones, you can gain financial education on topics that are relevant only to you. So My Milestones offers a variety of different learning mediums, such as courses, interactive tools, articles, start here guides, videos, infographics, and live webinars. Personal information that you put into My Milestones will not be shared with Commerce Bank or your organization. All right, so the reason we're here today is WGU, a wonderful organization who cares about your financial well-being, has collaborated with us to bring in My Milestones as a free benefit to all of you. So My Milestones is an interactive financial wellness platform, and it provides education on several different financial topics, and then it goes to deliver that education in the way that you really like to learn best. So with that being said, Tyler, we're ready for our first question to be dropped in the chat. So that question is, what grade would you give yourself, A, B, C, D, or F, when it comes to your own personal finances? So as Tyler is dropping that question in the chat, if you're comfortable answering the question, go ahead and do so in the chat. But if you're not, no worries, just decide what grade you would give yourself in your head, and I'll give you a few moments to think about that. And then I'll read some of those responses as they come through. All right, thanks, Sarah. We've got a D. Danielle, B. All right, D plus, fair enough. B or C. All right, F. Thanks, Aaron, for being honest with us. We're gonna help you with that. Jack, B minus. All right, thank you so much for that. So most of the time when we think of benefits, we tend to think of health and mental wellness, but financial wellness can really have a huge impact on us all as well. So we were curious to see what grade you would give yourself when it comes to your own personal financial knowledge. So shockingly, 41% of American adults said that they deserve no better than a C when it comes to their own personal financial knowledge. So my milestones will really give users the ability to improve their grade and feel less stressed about their finances. All right, so we're getting ready to move into our live demo portion of the presentation. If you have any questions so far, as a reminder, please go ahead and throw those in the chat and we'll make sure they get addressed. We're getting ready to go over some of our favorite features on My Milestones. So if you haven't signed up for My Milestones already, please take out your phone and scan the QR code now through your phone's camera application, or you can visit the URL that Tyler's going to be dropping in the chat on your computer. Please let us know if you need any help. That's what we're here for. And then I'll give you a few moments to go ahead and sign in or log in. And we're going to go ahead and move in to the live demo portion of our presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up with you so you can see what that looks like. So let's go ahead and navigate in there. So as you go to the URL that Tyler is putting in the chat, or if you scan the QR code, you're going to come to this screen. So if you want to log back in, if you've already signed up, you're going to click on login. But if not, and you're new to the platform, we're going to go ahead and sign up together. So it is going to ask you for your first name and then your last name. And then it's going to ask you for your email. And then it's going to go ahead and have you re-enter that email to make sure that we have it correctly. And then it's going to have you create a password. And it's going to have you agree to some disclosures. And it's going to want you to prove that you're not a robot. Sometimes it will pull this up. So it's wanting me to click on all of the cars. Gosh, let's test my eyesight here. Okay. Gosh, I don't see any more cars. Okay. See if it likes that or not. All right, I think it did. So we are in. Give it a few moments just to load, and then I'll show you a couple different places on your dashboard. Okay, so when you log in for the very first time, it's going to prompt you to get started. So it wants you to start with your financial wellness checkup. So that's how it really creates a personalized plan to help you achieve your own personal financial goals. Next, it talks about how you can see your financial stress score. So you can see how your score compares to peers and receive recommendations to help lower your financial stress and achieve your goals. Next, it's going to prompt you to take your money personality. The money personality is really cool. So it really helps you dig into the kind of psychology or how your brain ticks when it comes to your spending and saving habits. So it tends to be very eye-opening and maybe will enlighten you on some things you haven't thought about before. And then it also helps you stay on track. So stay on track with financial tools, courses, and our latest content. Okay, so it's going to prompt us to start the financial wellness checkup, which we are definitely going to want you to do the next time you interact with the platform. But for the sake of time, we're just going to go ahead and skip the checkup and navigate back to the dashboard. So as you can see, you can get awarded for your activity. So you can actually earn experience points for your activity on the platform. So if you complete any of your tasks on the dashboard, you can rack up experience points to level up. So we're going to go ahead and click out of there. So some things that you can be doing to earn those points is you can read the welcome message from Western Governors University. You can also click on the Get Recommendations, which that's the financial wellness checkup. So that's the short 5-minute survey that's going to help the platform deliver content that's relevant only to you. Then there's also a prompt to take your money personality, which is what I was talking about, that really digs into the psychology behind how you spend and save. And then there's also an opportunity to set a streak goal. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up and show you what that means. So streaks are earned by completing a task in the given time period. So you can earn extra rewards for staying on track. So we're going to go ahead and start a streak goal. So this is selecting how often you want to return to the platform to learn more. The more you come back, the more experience points you're going to earn. So we're going to go ahead and say we want to interact with the platform daily and confirm that. All right, so it says great job setting your streak goal. Make sure you completed tasks every day to keep it going. You can always go back and change your streak cadence in your account settings. So as you can see, I have earned 25 points by doing that. And I'm going to show you what you can actually do with your points, which is really cool. So you actually have an opportunity to win money for interacting with my milestones. So you can actually win cash from a $1,000 prize pool by redeeming sweepstakes entries with your earned sprouts. So they call their points sprouts. So the more sprouts you use, the better the chances are in winning. So as you can see, every 25 points that you earn will earn you an entry into the pool, the $1,000 prize pool. So the more you interact, the more points you're going to get and the more entries you can get into the prize pool. So definitely wanted to show you all that because that's super cool. And then next, I'm just going to show you the topics tab before we dive into the emergency savings course. So as you can see, it does show that there's different courses, tools, articles, start here guides, videos, infographics, and webinars that you can explore on the platform. The course that we take today is going to show you several different articles, tools, start here guides, videos, and infographics. But I do want to show you the webinars content really quickly. So if you're somebody that likes to interact with live webinars, there is an upcoming live webinar, and it is Tuesday, April 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, and then 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can actually register for that. If you can't make it, no big deal. They do record all of their past webinars, and you're welcome to watch them there as well. So I did want to highlight that. Another thing I do want to highlight is the mindfulness tab up at the top. So there are different meditations, there's personality, journaling prompts, and your stress score. So the meditations are really cool. These are actually anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. And they have some really cool general ones like releasing stress and connecting with your body, which I really enjoy. But there's also meditations specifically geared towards financial content. So I know that it is tax time. So I don't know if all of you have done your taxes yet or you're getting ready to, but there's actually even a meditation you can take if you're feeling a little frustrated with your taxes. So just wanted to highlight that before we move on to the course. Some other things on the dashboard is you can actually navigate to Handshake from your WGU My Milestones platform. So you can click on that link right there. Or if you travel down to the bottom, you can actually also navigate to careers at wgu.edu or the WGU Career Services page as well, all from your My Milestones platform. All right, so we're going to dive into our emergency savings course. So I'm going to go up to topics and click on courses. This is going to show you all the different courses that you have at your fingertips. So as you can see, they are all leveled. So there's introductory classes, there's intermediate classes, and then there's also advanced courses you can take as well. And it also shows you the amount of time that that's going to take. So we're going to go ahead and navigate to the emergency savings course, which as you can see, there are a lot of different courses that you can take. All right, setting up an emergency fund. Okay, so as you can see, it is a 30-minute course. It is an introductory level course. Some of the things that we're going to learn is what is an emergency fund meant to be used for? How much should you have in your emergency fund? Ways to grow your emergency fund more quickly. Why it's important to have an emergency fund. What is an emergency versus a non-emergency? And then how to contribute to your emergency fund, as well as how to build a habit of savings. So this course is going to have a personalized course setup, which means that it's going to ask us some pre-course questions. And dependent upon how we answer those, it's going to build the course based on how we answered those pre-course questions. It's going to have 11 minutes of on-demand video that we're going to watch, 2 different interactive exercises, quizzes with immediate feedback, and then it's going to end with a personalized action plan and certificates. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so this is the pre-course setup. So before we get started, how are you feeling about your knowledge of emergency funds? I'm going to say we're feeling not so confident. So it says that's okay. The course is a course ahead is designed to teach you everything you need to know about contributing to an emergency fund. So we're in the right place. All right, so are you currently a student? We're going to say definitely yes. So we are a student. All right, are you currently employed? I know some of you might be employed, some of you maybe aren't. I'm going to go ahead and just click yes, but as you're going through this course as a part of your call to action, just make sure you answer the questions as they pertain to you. So after paying monthly bills and expenses, is there any money left over to put towards savings and investing? I'm going to say yes. So when were you born? I'm going to go ahead and put in a birth date here. So when you all do this, you're going to want to put in your own. Oops, that's not right. Sorry, I meant to put in 2000. There we go. There we go. All right. So it says your age does impact how we approach your goals, how we create a personalized financial wellness plan for you, and then it does validate that you're old enough to use the platform. All right. So it says we're almost ready to create your personalized course. These last few questions will assess your baseline level of knowledge on the subjects covered in the course. Okay. So if you have a tight budget, you should hold off on making contributions to an emergency fund. Do we think that one is true or false? I'm going to say that is false. All right. And I will ask for some interaction once we get into the actual course, but I'll go ahead and move through these for the sake of time during the pre-course setup. So which of the following would not be considered an emergency expense? Getting cosmetic surgery, repairing a leak in your roof, paying for repairs after your car breaks down, or traveling to visit a close relative in the hospital? We're going to go with getting cosmetic surgery. All right. According to most financial experts, a fully funded emergency fund should cover 6 to 9 months of expenses. All right, I'm going to say that one is false. And we will go into learn about how many months you should have in there. Which of the following is not an effective way to contribute to an emergency fund? So would it be setting up automatic deposits, making regular monthly or weekly deposits, making deposits whenever you have some extra cash, or doing a savings challenge? I'm going to say making deposits whenever you have some extra cash. All right. Which of the following is a smart way to grow your emergency fund faster? Would it be using your tax refund for a vacation, donating clothes to a thrift store, studying the market, or utilizing high interest savings? We're going to go with high interest savings. All right. So we have got through the pre-course assessment and it is building our course. So we're going to go ahead and click next. All right, and we're going to go ahead and watch our first video on what is an emergency fund.
Saving money is an important financial habit. Building an emergency fund is a valuable way to get into the habit while also giving yourself some extra financial security. An emergency fund is an account where you set aside money to cover unexpected expenses. Experts recommend saving up enough to cover at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses. As a student, your living expenses may be modest or included in education cost, but a savings cushion couldn't hurt. Having a fully stocked emergency fund is so important because you never know what's coming next in life. Hopefully, you won't need to use your emergency fund for a long time, but having plenty of extra cash saved up can really come in handy if you, for instance, find yourself facing unexpected medical bills or costly car repairs. Drawing from emergency savings can save you from having to take out a loan or rack up credit card debt to cover those pesky surprise costs. An emergency fund is different from a regular savings account, which you might use to save up for a spring break trip or a new laptop for school. Ideally, an emergency fund should be kept in an account totally separate from other accounts, and it should only be used to cover truly unanticipated emergency expenses. Even if you're on a tight budget while you're in school, it's still possible to put some money aside each month for emergencies. You never know, you just might need it someday.
All right, thanks so much for watching that with us. We're going to go ahead and move on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for some interaction here. We're going to say the answers are A, B, C, and D. So what is the significance in having an emergency fund? Would we say it's A, to allow you to pay off your credit card debt, B, to help build your credit, C, to provide cushion in case something unexpected occurs, or D, to help you save up for goals? All right, I'm going to go with whatever came in first. So we've got C, so let's go ahead and roll with that. All right, great job. That one is correct. So it says, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Most people aren't ready when an emergency hits, and lack of preparation can lead to greater loss. So it may not be easy to save just yet, but you're on the right track by having some stashed away. All right, so we're going to look at this. This is the value of emergency funds. So most people don't like to imagine the worst case scenario, let alone plan for it. Let's follow the story of Jalen and Sarai, neighbors who commute together to the same job to learn the value of an emergency fund. Okay, when the employer underwent layoffs, Jalen and Sarai were let go. Sheree was worried because she had just spent her rainy day savings on a vacation. By contrast, Jalen had $5,000 tucked away. So Jalen and Sheree found job hunting to be an ongoing process, and both remained unemployed for a month. Jalen dipped into his emergency savings to pay his $1,200 worth of monthly bills, while Sarai paid the same amount with a credit card. 2 months from being laid off, both have interviews lined up. Jalen and Sheree both decide to spend $300 on new business attire and a coaching session. Jalen uses his emergency fund, while Sheree uses her credit card, which gained 23% interest since last month. So far it looks like Jalen's savings is $3,500 and Sarai's debt is $1,788. All right, both interviews went well, but no word yet. At the end of the month, Jalen pulls another $1,200 for bills from savings, and Sarai chooses not to add her credit card debt, so she borrows $1,300 from a friend to cover her bills, plus a minimum credit card payment of $100. So far, Jalen still has $2,300 in savings, and on the other end, it's $2,988 in debt. Jalen and Sheree both land jobs that start the next month. Jalen takes another $1,200 for bills from his emergency fund, and Sarai takes a payday loan for $500 and, wary of the 400% interest rate, borrows the rest from her mom, using $100 to pay down the credit card minimum. So far, on one end, we have a savings of $1,100 still, and on the other end, we have a debt of $4,876 plus. All right, at last, payday. So Jalen is able to put $200 back into his emergency fund, building it up again, and Sheree needs to pay her bills, payday loan, credit card, and debt to her friend and mother. Her paycheck is not enough to cover it all, so she pays the payday loan off first immediately and puts the rest on her credit card. Jalen's emergency fund continues to grow, and Sheree is still in the hole, but has a plan to make larger payments to her credit card to combat the effects of compound interest, knowing that in time she'll be able to pay off the full balance, and hopefully her friend and mom too. As you can see, without an emergency savings, a financial hit can have lasting consequences. The good news is that you can minimize the fallout with a specifically designed emergency fund. Start small, and you can soon expect to replace panic with preparedness. All right. So what is an emergency expense really? So just because something feels like an emergency doesn't mean it really qualifies as one. Let's explore a few scenarios to help you better identify whether to dip into your funds or leave them alone. Okay, so this is an example of an infographic, which you'll find on the platform. So these are really good for visual learners. So this shows you examples of emergencies versus non-emergencies. Okay, so for medical, an example of an emergency would be an emergency room visit. But example of a non-emergency would be cosmetic surgeries. Moving on to home expenses. So an emergency would be weather-related damages. An example of a non-emergency would be furniture or decoration upgrades. For auto, an emergency would be major or unexpected car repairs. and non-emergency would be audio system upgrades. And then lastly, for travel, an emergency would be travel for a friend or family member emergency, such as a hospitalization or a funeral. And then a non-emergency would be a vacation. So that gives us kind of an idea of what some examples of some emergencies versus non-emergencies are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for some interaction again here. So elective medical procedures are not considered emergency expenses. Is that true or false? True. All right, thanks so much. Great job. Okay, moving on. How much money, if any, do you have set aside for a rainy day? So this is a poll question, which these are really cool because these show you what percentage of people that take this course answered in each different category. So we're just going to say we don't have anything saved in our emergency fund right now. We're just wanting to get started. We're going to go ahead and submit that. Okay, so 26% of people said, I don't have anything saved. So anytime you fill out one of these polls, it will tell you what the percentage of people that agreed with you is. Okay, so it says we're off to a great start. You're probably wondering exactly what your emergency fund should look like. Since you're still in school, it's really up to you to decide on how much savings you're comfortable with. Ready to go deeper? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and watch this video on what an emergency fund should look like.
There's no one right way to build an emergency fund. Instead, it's best to figure out what makes the most sense for you and your unique financial situation. When you're beginning to save, you'll want to start small so it doesn't feel like an enormous task, and hopefully, over time, your contributions will begin to grow. You can start by setting a small goal, such as a few dollars per week, to get you into the habit of saving. Once you've got some momentum, make it a goal to have a few $100s saved. After you are able to save a few $100s, your next goal will be to have enough money saved to cover 1 month's worth of expenses. You'll eventually want to build up enough savings to cover 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, which is what most experts recommend having for a fully funded emergency fund. As you build your emergency fund, it's a good idea to keep your contributions in a separate savings account solely dedicated to your fund. Some people even keep their emergency fund in a different bank than their regular accounts to reduce the temptation to take money out of the account. As your emergency fund grows, you might be interested in moving it from a basic savings account to a money market or high yield savings account. Make sure that your savings stay liquid so that you can have access to your emergency savings at any time. Basic savings accounts tend to offer low interest rates, which means your savings still earn interest in these accounts, but the interest accrual could be as low as pennies per year. On the other hand, money market and high yield savings accounts tend to earn higher interest rates. Keeping an emergency fund in one of these accounts instead of a basic savings account will put your money to work and help you grow your savings faster. Often these accounts have minimum balance requirements, so be sure to check with your financial institution. So you see, an emergency fund can look very different depending on how much you want to have saved and what type of account you're keeping it in. Whatever stage of saving you're at, the best emergency fund is the one you're making regular contributions to.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so next, according to most financial experts, how much should you strive to have saved up in your emergency fund? Since we just went over this, let's go ahead and ask for some interaction here. So A, at least $500, B, enough to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses, C, at least 1,000, or D, enough to cover 1 month of expenses. Great, thank you so much, B. All right, correct, nice job. Okay, so every little bit adds up. As you contribute to an emergency fund, it's important to know that there are lots of ways you can do this. Consider trying out one or all of these methods to keep growing your savings consistently. All right, and this is a video on how to contribute to your emergency fund.
Having fully funded emergency savings can help you cover unexpected expenses when they arise. But how do you get from opening an emergency savings account to having a few months of expenses saved up? Sticking to a plan and using smart savings strategies can take you from having zero savings to having a healthy fund for a rainy day. Making a savings plan and sticking to it will ensure that you reach your goal of a fully funded emergency savings account. What your savings plan will look like is entirely up to you and your unique situation. Perhaps you decide to save a set amount each month. Or, if your income is variable, you might save a set percentage of your take-home monthly pay. You could also add the contributions to your emergency fund to your monthly budget. Either way, commit to making regular deposits in your emergency fund and you'll be amazed by how quickly it can grow. To make saving easy, you might also look into ways to save automatically. For example, check to see if they offer any services that can help you save. Some will keep the change from transactions by automatically rounding your purchases to the next dollar and depositing the change into your savings account. They might also allow you to set up automatic deposits, so you don't have to worry about remembering to transfer money into your emergency fund each month. And your employer also might allow you to automatically deposit a portion of your paycheck into your savings each pay period so you don't have to worry about spending it. If you're looking for ways to kickstart your savings habit, you might consider trying a savings challenge. Maybe you save an increasing amount each week until you reach a milestone in your account, or commit to making daily deposits. Or maybe you draw inspiration from a savings challenge you find online and create your own. The options are endless. At the end of the day, the best savings plan or strategy is one you can stick to. Set attainable goals for yourself and stay with your plan. The more you save, the easier it will get. Plus, you'll have the security of knowing you have a healthy fund saved up to handle life's big surprises.
All right, moving on. Next quiz question. So which of the following is an effective way to contribute to an emergency fund? Would it be making regular monthly or weekly deposits, setting up automatic deposits, doing a savings challenge, or all of the above? We're going to go ahead and roll with all of the above. All right. All right. So are you really prepared for an emergency? So don't worry. We've got a calculator to help you calculate your emergency fund savings goal for you. So this is a really cool tool that you can use in My Milestones to help you figure out what your emergency fund should look like. So you're actually going to put in your total monthly living expenses. So this includes things like housing, food, transportation, and any bills that you owe. It says don't include your monthly income or how much you save monthly for retirement or other goals. You can also use the budgeting tool, which I highly recommend you to interact with the budgeting tool. It does have a spot on it for setting up your emergency fund, and it helps you go over your entire budget. So if you need to assess how much your living expenses really are, you can use that budgeting tool. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw in an amount here. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to just say 2,000. Okay, so how many months should your emergency fund last? So experts recommend saving 3 to 6 months of expenses. So we're going to go ahead and start with 3. Excuse me. Man, picky. Here we go. Okay, how much have you already saved in your emergency fund? We're going to say we're just starting. How much can you save monthly towards your emergency fund? Let's say $50. Okay, so the estimated emergency fund goal is based on your personal inputs is 6,000. Excuse me, y'all. Okay, so with a monthly contribution goal of 50, it's going to take about 9 years to reach your emergency fund. So you may be able to reach your goal sooner by decreasing your expenses, or increasing your monthly contribution. Man, sorry, y'all. Got me. Okay, time to supersize your savings. It's great that you're already saving, but what if you want to ramp up on how much you're putting away? So check out these tips and ideas that may help you grow your emergency fund. Okay, so this one is actual content off the platform. So ways to help grow your emergency fund faster: spending less, make sure you're saving some extra income, sell your unused items, and make sure you earn more money. Okay, so which of the following is not a direct way to grow your emergency fund faster? Excuse me. I'm going to go with buying books about budgeting. Okay, so we're almost done. Even though an emergency fund might not be your top priority while you're in school, building a saving habit will serve you for the rest of your life. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this on building a habit of saving.
Contributing to an emergency fund is an important part of your overall financial health, and making regular deposits in your emergency fund will also help you get into the habit of saving. This habit can help you reach many other important financial goals as you go through life. Having a fully funded emergency fund will help you have a more stable financial situation. Instead of going into debt when emergency expenses arise, you can draw on your fund to cover them. Once you're happy with how much you have saved in your emergency fund, the lessons you've learned while building your fund will help you continue to save towards other goals. Whether you want to save up for a new car, a vacation, or even retirement, your new savings habit will help you reach your goals. Besides helping you with unexpected expenses that come your way, it can also help you set aside money to enjoy the things that are really important to you in life. So you see, setting aside money for saving isn't about depriving yourself. Instead, saving should support your ability to live life to the fullest without living outside your means. And by contributing to an emergency fund, you're giving yourself the peace of mind and financial security to do just that.
All right, so which of these behaviors are you most likely to implement or change to be able to contribute confidently to an emergency fund and build a habit of savings? So think about these, because at the end, I am going to ask you to tell us what you're going to be doing to implement or change to be able to contribute confidently to an emergency fund. So some things that you can do is using a high interest online savings account, eating out at restaurants less often, asking your boss to work some overtime, getting a side gig, selling unwanted items, or saving all of your spare change. I'm going to go with eating out at restaurants less, because that's definitely something that I need to work on, because I do not like to cook. All right, so now that you've learned about contributing to an emergency fund and why it's so important, how are you feeling about building a habit of savings? I'm going to say we're feeling pretty confident now that we've gone through this. All right, so we have completed the course. We got 100%, so great job. Does show a 0% knowledge gain. Reason for that is we answered all the pre-course assessments correctly. If we didn't, it would show a knowledge gain. But let's go ahead and dive into our action plan. Okay, so after you complete a course, it does show you a personalized action plan. There is a certificate you can print if that's something that you like to do. Then it shows us our pre and post score and what our knowledge gain was. Then it breaks it up and gives it an analysis, what to do and what that means. It also shows your perception, so pre-course and post-course. And then it shows us our poll question results. So it breaks down all the different answers. And then it gives us a personalized action plan. So things you can do: store your emergency fund in a secure account, start a side gig, start by setting money aside from your salary, strike a good balance, and revel in your self-reliance. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move back to the dashboard. Last thing I want to show you here is the favorites tab. So anytime you are on the platform, for instance, if we go back to courses and you see something that you want to consume but you don't have time, for example, you want some more information on insurance, you can hover over this and favorite it, and it will go to your favorites tab so that you can navigate it for later. Last thing I want to show you is the Connect with Commerce. So there's actually a really exciting offer right now on how to get $300 from opening an account, and I'll give you some more information on that at the end. There's also an information on connecting with commerce. So if you have any questions about anything in regards to your financial habits, or you would like some more information on mortgage or anything else, you're more than welcome to email this email right here or click the button. There's also a phone number and our customer care hours as well. And then I'm going to move on back to the presentation. Okay, so if you have not already, the call to action for today is to go ahead and sign up for My Milestones. So go ahead and scan the QR code that Tyler's going to throw in the chat, or you're more than welcome to visit the URL since it has moved up in the queue in the chat. So we do want you to sign up. Next thing is we want you to search an emergency fund in the search bar. Take action by taking that course that we just took together. Take action by filling out the emergency fund tool that we also did together. And then read the article, Emergency Funds 101, Tips for Building Your Fund. Next, we want you to complete your personalized action plan after you fill out that emergency fund course. And you might get different results based on how you filled that out. And then we've got some real life call to actions for you. So make sure you start a separate emergency fund. You want to create a goal to have 3 to 6 months of expenses in that fund. And then you only want to use that fund for actual emergencies. Okay, so at Commerce, we really like I will statements. So we do want you to create an I will statement of your own and throw that in the chat. So mine is I will create a goal to have 3 to 6 months of expenses in my emergency fund. You could also say things like you're going to save your spare change or anything else that we learned in this course. So I'll give you about 30 seconds. If you're comfortable, type in the chat what you're going to do in real life as a call to action to start your emergency fund or contribute to your emergency fund. Looks like we've got some typing. Thank you. For me, it's definitely making the goal of 3 to 6 months and not eating out as much. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Keep contributing. Open a separate bank account for savings with a different bank than my checking account. Okay. Increase my savings contribution for those unexpected vet bills. Yep. I've got 4 dogs, so I know how that goes. Sell items. I'm decluttering to have extra money for my emergency fund. Awesome. Thank you all so much for that. We'll go ahead and move into our last slide. Okay, so please reach out to me with any questions as you're navigating the platform. I'm always happy to help connect you with a specialist if you happen to need assistance from a banker, maybe somebody in mortgage or a financial advisor, or feel free to use that Connect with Commerce button on the left-hand side of your dashboard. This PDF will also be sent out to everyone by our partners at WGU. And we also have an exciting offer available to you all now. And Tyler's going to throw some information about that in the chat. So as a student of WGU, you are eligible to earn $300 when you register on the My Milestones by Commerce platform and you open and use a free Commerce checking account. So just keep in mind, you must be registered on My Milestones when you go to open the account. And please note, you must be a resident of Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, Oklahoma, or Colorado. However, if you are a student who live in another state other than those listed, you're still more than welcome to open an account with us. So this promotion goes on until May 21st, and Tyler's dropping the link with some more information. And then Tyler will be sending the PDF of this presentation to our partners at WGU to send out to all the students who registered and attended the session to make sure they have those information. We're also going to be sending out a survey link to everybody. So please fill that out. That is how we make sure that we're being the most effective. And before we move into Q&A, I just want to thank you for bearing with me. I went out a couple times with coughing fits, so apologize for that in advance. And lastly, we can go ahead and move into our Q&A. So please let Tyler and I know in the chat if you know of any roadblocks you anticipate with having an emergency savings fund, if maybe there's still something you're feeling uncertain about that we might be able to help you with, or does anybody have just any remaining lingering questions about the platform? Thanks for that feedback, Sarah. We've got about 10 minutes, so we're happy to stay on if anybody has any questions, but if not, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help if you have any.
Yes, and I'll actually go ahead, I'll end the recording.